Okay, so this next video lecture is about our module number 2. So this is entitled, module number 9. So this is accounting for labor. Okay, so we will be discussing about the different wage plans, computation of the payroll and net pay for the employee, computation of the employer's payroll contribution and the taxes, and accounting for labor cost. So to start with, let us discuss about the different wage plans. So basically, there are two major kinds of wage and salary payment plans. So these are based on the time, and the other is based on incentives. Okay, so these are the two most common wage plans that are being followed, okay, by most of the business entities in providing salaries and wages to their employees. So these two types also may take in many forms. So based on, or if the entity is using a time plan remuneration, so in this case, regardless of the output or quality of the output, the basis of the payment will be on the time spent by the worker or the employee. So instead, they are computed, okay, with their salaries and wages in terms of the time unit. So the payment is not conditional to the output. That's why, again, this is based on the time spent. Wages also are not linked to productivity. So in this case, the time unit may be in terms of number of hours, per day, per week, or monthly salary. So this system is actually very popular for white-collar employees. Okay, so here they have the year-end annual increment, merit increments. They also have bonuses, promotions, and chances, or promotion chances are means of motivating, okay, these people or these employees. Okay, so in this system also, the plans are non-incentive because earnings during a given time period do not vary. Okay, so because in this case, what the employer actually is looking at is on the number of hours spent. So by the way, when we say white collar employees, these are the professional, desk, managerial, and administrative related works. Okay, so that's why in this case, actually they are also required some output, but that is not the main reason or measure, okay, for providing their salaries. So the second category is the incentive plans, or those in which the remuneration or the salary and wages will depend on the output or other measure of productivity during a given period of time. So to earn more, in this case, the employee should expend effort to produce more, to sell more, or to reduce the cost, utilize various resources more effectively, as the case may be. Because in this case, they will be paid according to their productivity. So it is easy to compute and understand, okay, these two different types of wage plans. So the first one is based on the number of hours or the time spent on working, and the other one is based on the output or productivity. So mostly workers or the unions, they prefer it because the plan do not stimulate speed ups or penalize the average worker. So, and under our second category also, quality is not sacrificed, okay, because productivity and output is the basis. Okay, Its main disadvantage, however, is it lacks motivation. Okay, so pay is not related to effort or output, but merely to the time spent on the first category. So by prolonging the work in that case, the employees can obtain overtime pay. Time plans may take two forms. Okay, so we have day work and measured according to the work within the day. So day work, basically this refers to all time payment plans used in paying workers, although the hour is the time unit that is commonly used. So wages are computed under it will be by multiplying the number of hours by the rate per hour. Okay. How about for measured day work? Okay, so here it overcomes the demerits of the day work and gains its advantages. Okay, so under this system, the employees are paid under the day work system, but hourly rates are measured. So the advantage of this plan is that the wages may be easily computed, yet the employees are provided with a motive for improvement, okay, on their performance. And earnings are not dependent upon one factor, such as output, but are affected by quality of output, dependability, and versatility. So this is in the case of the measured day work. So the major types of incentive plans are, we have here piecework, time saving plan, efficiency bonus plans, and profit sharing plans. Okay, so let us discuss each of them. When we say piecework, this is most widely used type of incentive wage plan. So under this, the number of pieces or the units of work are that were completed will be determined or will be used to determine the computation of the salaries or wages that a certain employee or worker have earned, okay, during a period of time. So each piece is given a prescribed value, which is known as the piece rate. So the rates are set by the time study or past experience on the similar jobs. Okay, so here it is designed to provide workers with the incentive, to increase their output, because they will be based or their salaries and wages will be based on the number of outputs. So here, the workers will be convinced and motivated by the prospect of the increase in the pay. So basically, the piecework plan is appropriate when output is standardized and it can be measured. There is also a link between the effort and the output can be attributed to an individual worker or a group, so that each will receive a reward that is reasonable with their efforts. Okay, so that is for the piecework. The second is for merits. Okay, here it is easy to understand. It improves productivity and a good incentives for workers to increase their output. So basically, here, this is what are the advantages, okay, of the piecework. What about the disadvantages? So the workers focus on quality and not in this case, the focus of the workers will be on the quantity, and basically the quality may be sacrificed. It will cause high wastage, okay, greater disparities of earnings between slow and fast workers. Worker center personal relationship will suffer because of the competition later on that may exist. No guaranteed minimum, and this make workers insecure. Workers may suffer from stress and tension. So those are the setbacks or the disadvantage of this type of wage plan, piecework. Okay, for the time rate, this is or the effect of this is less harmful to the quality and to the health of the employees, because in this case, the time spent will be the basis, and normally when time rate is being used, there is a maximum and minimum time that the worker can spend for a certain period of time. Okay, So this is also simple and easy to understand. Do not provide incentive for increased effort. It will require supervision. And the employers are vulnerable to work rule because in this case, they are, or the workers will be more concerned about how much time they have spent, and regardless of the output. And of course, there will be sanctions, okay, by the union depending on that agreement between the employee and the employees and the employer. So what about piece rates? Okay, so it stimulates the effort as mentioned earlier. It will encourage the worker to devise improved methods to hasten the work, okay, and to make it more productive. It also simplifies the costing because the wages and salaries will be based on the number of pieces that were produced. This must be adjusted to take account of the changes in the method as well, and will encourage workers to cut corners, endangering safety and quality. Okay, so those are for the piece rates. What about time saving plan? Okay, so it is one of the oldest incentive plans actually. So under this, the employee is paid for the time actually spent on a task, and there is a bonus which is based on the percentage of time saved under the time set for the task that was worked on. So in this type of incentive plan, we have here the formula. So the hour times the hourly rate, okay, plus, okay, I think S here stands for the standard hour required to produce a certain product, and then H is the hour actually spent by the worker times the rate. Okay, and then here this is the percentage or the piece or number of piece, I think, okay, to get the work. So to understand better, we have here if a worker whose rate was 5 an hour took him to finish, or an hour, and it took 8 hours on a job on which the standard allowance hour is 12 and the percentage was 75. Okay, based on this formula as mentioned earlier, so we will just follow. So 8 is the number of hours the worker have spent on. HR is the rate per hour. So S is the standard hour to produce a certain product minus the number of hours spent by the worker, and then times the hourly rate and the percentage. So in this case, the wage is 56. Okay, so this is just an illustration for using the time saving plan. Okay, so in this case, the bonus percentage is usually set between 75 to 100. This is, I think, to encourage the workers, okay, to be productive in working. Okay, the next is efficiency bonus plan. So an employee is paid for the time actually spent on the assigned task, and then we will add a bonus based on the personal efficiency on those tasks. So this calls for establishing a table, okay, for the values for increasing degree of efficiency. So for each job, there is a standard time allotted, and at the end of each week, each worker's efficiency will be derived or determined by dividing the time allowed for the various job by the time taken by the employee in finishing the job. So to the base wage is then added to the percentage for relative efficiency. So we have here an example, okay, to illustrate. So a worker who took 40 hours to complete jobs on which the allowance is 36 hours and the hourly rate is 5. So in this case, he would be paid for 115. Okay, so for the wages or for the efficiency bonus, so here is our formula. So H stands for the number of hours the employee have taken or finished the job. So R is the hourly rate. Okay, plus the quantity of the hour spent by the worker times the hour, and then the selected percentage for the bonus. So in this case, it was 15%. Okay, so following the formula, okay, so in this case, the wage is, okay, so we'll just add, or following the formula, I mean, we'll just, okay, so 200 plus 200 for 40 times 5, and then 50% of this should be 60, I think. Okay, sorry, 260 should be 260 instead of 230 right here. So please take note of that. Okay, so 50% of 200 is 60. Okay, so that's how, sorry, 30, correct, sorry, 30. Okay, so that's how we actually compute, okay, for the efficiency bonus, okay, in this case. So correct, this is correct, sorry. So that's 230. So the next is profit and revenue sharing plans. So in this case, a final group of plan, this is related to compensation and is characterized by some form of sharing in the profits or revenues, which is the primary objective of profit sharing plan. So these are to improve the productivity, recruit or retain employees. So it will also improve the product or service quality and improve employee morale. Okay, so the plans include the following. Basically, when we say profit and revenue sharing plans, it means to say that aside from the salary of the employee, which is earned, okay, from working in the entity, the employee can also have the chance to share from the profit or the revenue gained by the entity. So this is like a double compensation, which means to say that aside from the employee being paid for the salary, they are also sharing from the profit. So if you could imagine, in this case, the employee is at the same time an employee and like a shareholder or part owner at the same time, okay, because they already share profit and revenue together with the owners. Okay, so we have here the following: sharing directly in profits. So as the name suggests, so this involves the employee receiving a share of the company's profits. In this case, employees receive a bonus. Okay, basically this is based on some percentage of the company's profit. So actually this is a form of a bonus. So this is a motivation to retain the employee. Most likely this type of wage plan is offered or given to managerial positions. Okay, so in this case, the employee's basic pay is unaffected regardless of the basic pay, so they share at the same time from the profits. Okay, so sharing profits with employees has been used as a means of incentive. So firms use it for one or more of the following reasons. First, to build a group incentive for increased productivity, or to increase the productivity and better employee relations. And to institute a flexible reward structure also that reflects the company's actual economic position, to enhance employee security and identification with the company. So it boosts the morale of the employees because as mentioned earlier, aside from the salary, they are also sharing from the profits just like the owners do. Okay, also to enhance or to attract and retain workers more easily, and to educate individuals about the factors that underlie the business success, so they will be able to work and reach for those objectives to achieve success. So this plan will work when there are no profits to divide. Okay. So another is stock ownership plan. Okay, so this is another type of profit sharing. Employee in this case, or employee stock ownership plan, have been popular in the business firms in the US and Japan. So about 10,000 US firms are now they now share ownership with more than 11 million employees. So in this case, this is actually the formal ownership of the employees of their company. So at the same time, they are the employee and the owners. Okay, so it will motivate them to work because they will work for their own company. That's the reason behind it. Okay, so the same is pursued by the few Bangladesh business organizations, and this enable the employees to become owners or part owners of the company. So the managers and workers see themselves as one group, and the result is that everyone is highly committed and motivated. So this is a great thing about stock ownership plans. So employees tend to be most satisfied with stock ownership when the company established these plans, okay, for employee-centered reasons rather than for strategic reasons. So it's better that the entity actually include the workers, okay, to participate and become productive, because they work not only for the entity but also for their own business. That's the outlook of this wage plan. So generally, this employee stock ownership plans are established for the following reasons. Okay, so because almost everyone loves the concept of employee ownership as a kind of people's capitalism. So it brings management and workers as partners. So they work together. So another is as a way of borrowing money relatively inexpensively. In this case, how do they do that? A firm borrows money from a bank using its stock as collateral and places the stock in an employee stock ownership trust, and as the loan is repaid, they distribute the stock at no cost to the employees. This is how they do it. Okay. Another is this is an additional employee benefit. And as a part owner, workers have a lot to say about their areas of expertise, because in this case, they are no longer working for the entity. They are working now for the benefit of their company because they are already the part owners. Okay, so in one survey, over 1,100 employee share plans, companies, about 60% of said productivity have increased, and 68% said that financial performance was higher since converting to this type of wage plans. Because in this case, motivation and productivity will be greater because the workers are working towards the common goal because they are already the part owner of the company. Okay, so however, the sharing also can be a disadvantage because employees may feel forced to join, thus placing their financial future at greater risk. So that's the setback. Both their wages and financial benefits will depend upon the performance of the organization. So these plans are not insured, and if the company goes bankrupt, so are their part owners or owners. Okay, so that's the disadvantage, however. Another is gain sharing. So it is necessary to have an adequate compensation program which will attract and retain key employee, okay, for superior caliber in the organization. So this is actually the same with the profit sharing and stock ownership. So in addition, non-traditional compensation system can be used to motivate the employee. Okay. So it is the sharing with employers of the greater than expected gains in profit or productivity. Okay. So actually, profit sharing is based on profitability measure. Okay, so of course, the gain sharing, productivity measurement, and bonus payments are frequently events. So this can be distributed monthly or quarterly, in contrast to the annual measures and rewards under the profit sharing plans. Okay, so here the same can be applied in the business firms like in the bank in Bangladesh. So actually this is based in or in research, okay, that was conducted there. So the primary objective of gain sharing plans are the following. So it improves productivity, recruit and retain qualified employees, just like the first two, okay, plans. It will improve product or service quality, employee morale. So management must be willing to disclose, however, their financial and profit information to their employees if they want to be successful in implementing this plan. Okay, so in the study of Tyler and Fisher, they identified the following reasons for the failure of using this type of wage plan. First is, gain sharing does not work well in piecework operations. Okay, because again, the salaries and wages there are based on the number of outputs. So I think this will not be, or the distribution of the profit sharing is not even. Another is, some firms are uncomfortable about bringing unions into business planning because there are cases where the objectives of the employees are different from the owners. Okay, so they have conflicting objectives. So because of this, this may create disparity. Okay, and some managers may feel they are giving up their prerogatives. Okay, so because in this case, it's like sharing from the gain, although they are working together to achieve it, but I think on that part of the managers, they should be receiving more than their subordinates, for example. But if they are being provided equally, so there is no distinguishment between the levels of the employees in the hierarchy in the organization. Okay, so it is true of all incentive plans that none will work well except in a climate of trustworthy labor management relations and sound human resources management practices. Okay, so that's what very important concept or principle that they should follow, okay, in their organizational culture. Okay, so another plan is pay for skill. So this is skill-based payment. So this is an alternative to job-based pay. So skill-based pay can be introduced to encourage the employee to acquire a variety of skills. Without proper incentive systems, few workers will be willing to acquire necessary skills. So this is to motivate them. So employees will receive a pay increase for each new skill that they master. So in such a learning environment, more workers learn, or the more workers learn, the more they earn. But of course, they have to make sure that they will apply it in performing their jobs, okay, and bring productivity and profit to the organization. So under such a system, workers are paid not on the basis of the job they currently are doing, but rather on the basis of the number of jobs they are capable of doing, or the depth of their knowledge or specialization. Based on Peters and Rudolph, they point out that slowly but surely, we are becoming a skill-based society where your market value is tied to what you can do and what your skill set is. So this is very important. That's why we have different certification programs and examinations in which you can add the title in your name after. Okay, so in this new world where skills and knowledge are what really count, so it does not make sense that people are job holders. It makes sense to treat them as people with specific skills and to pay them for those skills. Okay, so what you can do that others cannot, that makes and set the difference. So it is not easily to introduce this skill-based pay system, however. So part of the problem is that the skills are not easy to measure, and especially in managerial jobs. So there should be a fair assessment and fair compensation. Okay, these are essential to developing workers with a variety of intellectual skills. So it is of much importance to develop and introduce accurate performance appraisal system that is fair for everyone. So this should be focused on job specific and result oriented criteria. Supervisors often they resist this performance appraisal. So few supervisors are trained in the art of giving feedback accurately, comfortably, and with a minimum likelihood of creating other problems. So as a result, many are afraid to make distinction among workers, and they do not. So in this case, basically this contents right here are based on the research. Okay, so a number of studies have investigated the use of effectiveness of skill-based payment. So they want to determine if this is actually effective. Okay, so employee with a variety of skills can easily handle any changes as mentioned, okay, in their jobs because they can handle a variety of work because of their skill set. So advocates of skill-based pay say that it can reduce staffing requirement and increase flexibility. Okay, meaning a single employee may have the skills to perform a variety of jobs for two or more, or for having two or more employees. Okay, so they have only to have this one employee to do these specific jobs. So decrease overall labor cost, that is the result, and increase job satisfaction. So downsizing requires more generalists and fewer specialists. Okay, so a recent survey here for 27 companies in which they use these programs revealed that 70 to 88% reported high job satisfaction as a result, and there is product quality or productivity. Some 70 to 75% reported lower operating costs, or they reduce turnover. Turnover means the employees resigning and then rehiring. That's the turnover. So because of this plans, they reduce this turnover because it has cost on the part of the entity. This is high. Okay. Mastering several jobs will increase also understanding and broaden perspectives. Okay, that's true. It facilitates communication across the organization because people gain better understanding of others' job. So it also lessens dysfunctional protection of territory behavior. Such program also motivate flatline employees who have little opportunity for promotion. So they have to do and learn something new. Okay. Multi-skilling can be the key in developing a competitive edge and fight global competition. So what about the downside of the skill-based payment system? So skills can become obsolete. When this happens, what should managers do? So they cut employee pay, or they continue to pay for skills that are no longer relevant. So that's a lot of cost. There is also the problem created by paying people for acquiring skills for which there may be no immediate need. Okay, so based on the study of TOSI, they offer the following suggestion to make this skill-based pay system to be a success. First, there should be a supportive HR management philosophy that underpins all employment activities. Such a philosophy is characterized by mutual trust and conviction those employees have the ability and motivation to perform well. But I think this is very hard to implement. Another is the HR management programs such as profit sharing, participative management, empowerment, and job enrichment will complement the skill-based pay system. Another, employee exchanges such as assignment and job rotation should be employed so that the employee will learn new and apply their skills. There are opportunities also to learn new skills like attending seminars and workshops. Workers should value teamwork and the opportunity to participate so they can relate and learn new things. So the employees involved develop and implement ideas related to productivity. Okay, so those are the different types of wage plans that the entity can follow, okay, in providing